Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining for this Tech Talk in the Builder series. Today's we'll focus on building security solutions with Splunkbase apps. Welcome. I am Tom Chavez, and I work as Senior Manager in Developer Marketing. With me today is Tom Smith. Tom?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Smith. I am a Principal Security Strategist here at Splunk. I've been here around 8 years, and I am responsible for a lot of things with relation to security at Splunk. Most notably, I work and manage the Boss of the SOC team that most everyone is familiar with. So that's me, and that's what I do here.
Cool. Thanks, Tom. Today, we'll cover how to get value from Splunk with apps, and we'll deep dive into apps that help you get started with security. And then we'll close out with additional resources to help you after this talk. Now, this Builder series is about getting value from Splunk with apps and the free training that's offered. You've already heard in the prior session about Splunkbase, which is the app marketplace for Splunk. It lets you get data in and get database insights out of Splunk, and there are more than 2,800 solutions available there today. Remember that it has powerful search, it's easy to explore. We've got these curated collections that were put together by Splunk folks. And if you missed the prior sessions, you can watch the replay about Splunkbase, as well as the session covering DevOps pipeline analytics with Splunkbase apps. Focusing in on security, we have a collection in our set of collections in Splunkbase. Remember that collections are curated by Splunk and include Splunk and third-party apps in them. There are a mix of free apps plus premium apps, and they're really easy to add to your Splunk instance. But instead of just talking, let's go ahead and dive into some of those. So during our demo, we'll walk through Splunkbase and take a look at the apps in the collection. Tom, over to you.
Thanks, Tom. So as I browse Splunkbase, you can get there by going to splunkbase.splunk.com or apps.splunk.com. You'll land at this landing page, which contains all of the most trending apps, the popular apps that are up on Splunkbase. To access a security collection, you go under collections and click into getting started with security. Here you're going to see multiple apps kind of categorized into 3 different areas. So detect, enrich, and respond. If you think of kind of the old school OODA loop, the detection is going to be the observe and orient. Enrich is going to fall into that location as well. And then the respond is going to be the action part of that loop. But ultimately, let's dive into some of these and take a look at what these apps add to your Splunk installation. So first, and probably most popular in Splunkbase and Splunk in general for security, is our Splunk Enterprise Security app. This is a premium app that we offer. It is our SIM or security event management tool that sits on top of Splunk Enterprise. It is a market-leading SIM tool for the past, I think, 7 or 8 years. And ultimately, what it offers you is so much more from a security perspective than I can cover in the short amount of time that I have here. But ultimately, what it adds is a notable event framework, which allows you to alert and find things from a security perspective. We have a risk-based alerting framework, which allows you to assign risks or scores to different events or people or entities inside of your environment and sort of bubble up what might be the most riskful or risky type of event or type of person inside of your environment. There are other things like adaptive response frameworks, which allow you to perform some basic functions like resetting passwords or blocking IP addresses at a firewall. There are other things within enterprise security outside of those frameworks. And what you see here is really just a screenshot that is capable of being done inside of core Splunk, but because this is part of enterprise security, all of the dashboards, searches, rules, reports are provided for you in that premium product. Second app would be the Splunk Security Essentials. And this is one of those apps that I suggest every customer, even if they're not interested in security, to download into their core enterprise installation. It's a free app. It's got hundreds and hundreds of detections built into it. And it's really how our customers are finding content inside of their environment that is applicable to their environment. Everything inside of Security Essentials is mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, as you can see here in the screenshot. And it's very easy to just click into a detection. Here you can see a detection called concentration of attacker tools by file name. And with a click of a button, see if you actually have the data that is applicable to this detection, and another click of the button to configure it as a saved search or a search that will run inside of your environment. And if you couple this with enterprise security, which we just talked about, you can, with a single click, configure this as a search inside of enterprise security, which will ultimately bubble up those notable events and risk notables. Next, we have SA Investigator for enterprise security, which, as its name implies, is an actual plugin to enterprise security. It adds some very unique functionality to ES, which allows you to search based on an asset. Here you can see we're looking for a specific IP. You can look for identities, for instance. So if you want to look for a specific user, and what it will do is bring back everything pertaining to that specific asset or identity. And it will provide you sort of tabbed dashboards and tabbed information around that. It's really one of those things that it is a free app. It does require ES to run, but it's one of those things that, you know, every ES customer should have this installed and be using it inside of their enterprise security environment. Next is the enrich category. And enrich is really adding data or augmenting data inside of your Splunk instance with external information. And you can see a couple of examples here, VirusTotal and TrueStar. I'm going to click into TrueStar and talk through that a little bit. TrueStar is Splunk's threat intelligence management platform that is built into enterprise security as of 7.1. What TrueStar offers is the ability to give you threat intel information inside of your Splunk instance. Like I said, it comes with enterprise security. I'll go back and take a look at the other one really quick, just to show you what you could do for in a free environment. But ultimately, this is going to add threat intel information to multiple points of data inside of your Splunk enterprise security environment. VirusTotal, on the other hand, this is a free app. You can see this is reaching out via the internet over API to VirusTotal, who is a partner of ours, that will enrich data with VirusTotal information inside of core Splunk or enterprise security. So this, an example of this is if you have an executable in Splunk that has been logged in some log data, you can actually reach out via API to VirusTotal and look up that executable and get the score from VirusTotal and bring it back down and store it within your Splunk infrastructure. So it's an easy way to enrich your data from a security perspective. Finally, response or the action aspect of it. Now, these are all SOAR apps, and Splunk SOAR, which is renamed from Splunk Phantom, our acquisition from a few years ago. SOAR is really our security orchestration and automation platform. Each of these apps, very similar to apps on Splunkbase, apps for SOAR contain multiple actions, for instance. So if I click into Jira, for those of you who are familiar with Jira, it's a ticketing system. It does quite a lot more than that, but a lot of our customers use Jira for ticketing. You can see the actions. So for instance, create ticket, update ticket, delete ticket. And what our customers use this for, along with Splunk SOAR, is reaching out and updating Jira from IT perspective, updating tickets, creating tickets. So if you think about beginning to end, something that you see come into Splunk Enterprise with or without enterprise security, and you want to create a ticket on that event, you can automatically push that through Splunk SOAR to reach out to Jira and automatically create a ticket with the content from that log event inside of Splunk. There are many others here. Gmail, for instance, or SMTP, the ability to send email or receive email and act upon it. Okta for authentication or multi-factor authentication. Those types of things are really in the response category, and you can start to see the power of security orchestration as you start to think about the things that you can do. Locking out a user that might have been compromised in Okta, or requiring them to reset their password. Receiving an email from a support mailbox into Splunk SOAR and executing an action based on what data is inside of Splunk. Sending emails, for instance, blocking IP addresses, quarantining a machine in CrowdStrike. Any and all of those actions are available in these SOAR apps as you look to respond to security events. So that's this getting started security selection collection. Tom, do we have any questions on this?
Yeah, we do. So this is a great collection of, it looks like, free and access to some of the Splunk premium apps. Is there any way to, or are there other security solutions inside of Splunkbase that aren't in this collection?
There are. So there is actually a couple other collections that surround security. So for instance, detection and response. There are quite a few apps in here. So you see CrowdStrike, Cybereason, you see some Cisco apps, email security, and this is based more around specific platforms that you may want to secure. So you see identity, we've already talked about the Okta plugin. You see server cloud, we have our app for AWS. And we also have a ML collection, which goes across both IT, OLI, and security. But in ML, you're going to run into things like the machine learning toolkit or anomaly detection. Then finally, without the collections, you can just go straight to the apps list, click on the security filter on the left-hand side, and you can see that we have over 1,300 apps from a security, fraud, and compliance standpoint. Windows, AWS, Security Essentials, Cisco, pretty much anything and everything that you may have in your environment, there is most likely a Splunk app already designed and created for that technology.
Cool. Thanks, Tom. That is a lot of collections there, and it does look like great collections, as well as the standalone apps that are not inside the collection. So very cool. So that was a quick look through Splunkbase and the new interface, as well as collections and just how to find the security apps inside of it. We'll go ahead and wrap up now and point you to some additional resources for after this talk. Of course, you can start with Splunkbase site at splunkbase.splunk.com. We did cover the pipeline collection in another talk. So we have these other recorded tech talks and the security collection and all the collections. And as well, if there happens to be a type of data or insight that you've built, you can deliver it in Splunkbase also, and learn about that over on our developer site at dev.splunk.com. To support you, we have a whole community section of our website, and you can join there to look for information from other users about Splunkbase itself or dive into specific topics. You can ask questions there on the answers site and get answers from Splunk employees as well as the Splunk community. You can see the other tech talks that are available for Builder and tech talks about the platform and the product itself. And if you have an idea, you can submit it to our ideas portal and look for other ideas that have been submitted there also. Maybe you'll find something that you agree with and would like to see in a future version of our product. You can vote it up with your community votes and look for enhancements to come. We have one more question coming in, just looking back on the are apps in Splunkbase free or are they for pay? Tom, what's the answer for that?
So the short answer is yes. There are apps for free, and quite honestly, I would probably put something like 99.8% of the apps up on Splunkbase are free. When I was an SE 5 or 6 years ago, there were only, from what I remember, 4 apps on Splunkbase that were for pay. I'm sure that there's probably more now, but it is definitely, Splunkbase is more of a free and just go up and download it and install it and get it running type of location. We did mention Enterprise Security, which is our SIM. That's a premium app. There are a couple of other apps up on Splunkbase that are premium apps that require you to work through sales to acquire those. But ultimately, Splunkbase, like I said, is probably 99.98% free of charge, which is great. And those premium apps fulfill a purpose, right? From compliance and security standpoints, a SIM is required for most companies. You could certainly try to build your own, but most of our customers choose to deploy enterprise security because it's already built for them. So that's kind of the skinny on the paid versus free apps inside of Splunkbase.
And even when you have one of those paid apps, you can come back to Splunkbase to get those free add-ons and things that bring in more data and deliver more insights. Right, Tom?
Correct. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, that's the end of our demo and our questions. If you do have more questions after this, you can post them up in answers.splunk.com and go back to our community section to get support from other people. We thank you for attending this talk in the Builder series and hope you've enjoyed it and that's been helpful. Take advantage of that free education that's available also in the free courses, and we hope to see you in the community. Thanks. And thanks, Tom.
Thank you.